Good morning, Ricky. How are you doing? Thank you.
Did you, you just turned the ringer off, right? It's, it's 7 minutes out.
Good morning. It's been so lovely to hear some music from Billy and Beth. And I just wanted to welcome them. Billy Hardy on various instruments and Beth Sweeney also on various instruments. And you will hear them around Cape Cod with their beautiful music, concerts and libraries and so forth. And we're blessed to have them this morning.
Good morning. Welcome to First Parish Brewster. We are a Unitarian Universalist welcoming congregation of people of diverse convictions and cultures. Whoever you are, may this be a place of rest and restoration on your journey. I am Wilderness Sairchild, Worship Associate. Happy to be welcoming you to the service today with our interim music director, Kaiza Fern, and Rev Ken Hurto, our parental leave minister. Our services are recorded and available on our YouTube channel midweek. Masks are now optional in worship, although we do have specific spots that will remain mask required. Please silence your cell phones. We ask that all wear their name tags or fill out the sticker name tags in an effort to be more welcoming. We also welcome and celebrate the noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring to our services. For those of you who may be first-time guests this morning, welcome. If you would like to learn more about First Parish Brewster, please fill out a welcome card found on the back of the pew in front of you and place it into the offertory basket when that comes around later. Today, what's today? What's the big deal after the service today? Spring, all right. Gold stars for everyone. World what day? Bee Day? Yeah. Okay. So, well, I don't know what you said, but anyway. The plant sale has seedlings and plantings from our members' gardens. A book sale is featuring, and a bake sale featuring cookies, tea, bread, and baguettes. A gift shop with items crafted by our First Parish members. Thank you so much for supporting us. Welcome this morning as we make sacred our presence together. A big welcome to people streaming. We're glad you're here. We are an active congregation. We hope you'll be able to join us after services today for refreshment. And once again, our annual spring festival.
Some bright morning when this life is o'er, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life are gone, I'll fly away. Like a bird from these prison walls I'll fly. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joys will never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. I'll fly away.
Thank you. That was beautiful. In preparing for this call to worship about overcoming our fear of the new, I challenged myself to try at least one new thing each day this week for the past 5 days. Something that would be a little scary or uncomfortable. Something where I would risk failure. Something where I would not need to perform perfectly. Last Saturday, I took a mini workshop in Egyptian dance, belly dance, at a movement arts event. I couldn't isolate the different parts of my body like she was instructing me to. And I felt really self-conscious, and I had fun. And I'm not going to lie, I was relieved when it was over. On Sunday, I wrote an email to Rev Jessica. I hadn't touched base with her since we found out that she would be leaving First Parish. I know she has every right to leave, but I still felt abandoned and didn't feel like wishing her well. By giving myself some time to grieve, I knew I was ready to reach out, to thank her for all the gifts she has given to First Parish, to send her my blessings on her new journey, and to be honest about my own sadness without a need to place blame. On Monday, I sang out loud while walking in the woods with my dog. Na, 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 na. I felt shy, like I feel now singing to you. I was afraid someone would hear me. Sure enough, someone did. She laughed. I survived. On Tuesday, I met with a long-term friend who I haven't seen in a while. We are renegotiating our friendship. We're not feeling as close as we used to. No one is to blame. We are each growing and changing in our own unique ways. I feel sad, but also good that we respect and care about each other enough to go through this rite of passage with honest communication, humility, and compassion, rather than just choosing to disappear from each other's lives. I love hot showers, and I could bask in them for a really long time every morning. For something different, each day this week, I have ended my shower by turning the knob to cold and letting the freezing water soak my head, my neck, my front, my arms. The first day, I lasted about 3 seconds. Now I'm up to about 10. It's freaking cold. And it's invigorating. It's uncomfortable and also satisfying, how it wakes up my skin, my muscles, my brain. I never thought of myself as creative when I was younger. I couldn't carry a tune. I couldn't paint or draw a likeness of anything. I wasn't athletic. But I've learned along the way that creativity isn't just about creating a work of art. It's really about creating a life. Showing up authentically in relationships, risking being seen as foolish, choosing the road less traveled, singing joyfully loud, even when I can't carry a tune. Sometimes, in regards to any particular challenge, I need to ask myself the question, do I choose habit or do I choose healing? The two are often not compatible. As we light the chalice today, think of a situation in your own life that feels muddy or scary or challenging. If you were to choose a creative response over an habitual response, what might that be? A creative response over an habitual response. What would that be?
I invite you to rise in body or spirit. We're going to turn to the gray hymnal and sing hymn number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky.
We believe in love. We believe in truth.
For us, the truth is its sacrament,
We believe in helping others.
and service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Our young people are on a bit of a field trip this morning. You ready? All right. Come ahead. I need a microphone.
Those of you who are here, Bea, Naomi, come on up. Anyone who wants to come up, I've got a story. And you know what? Why don't you sit next to me so you can see the pictures, okay? That'd be good. Let's sit up here so you can see. Naomi, you want to sit up so you can see? Oh, see? Good to see you. Look at you all. Augie, come on over so you can see. Everyone's here. Look at that. Augie, you want to see? Thank you. The hard thing about reading a picture book in the sanctuary is it's hard to see the pictures. And so ideally, you kind of make them up in your head as you go. So all of you out there who can't see the pictures, go for the images. But this is a story about a little boy who learns to jump, who learns to dive, who learns to go up very high and jump off. So I want you to think about a time that you were scared to climb something. Did you ever climb up something high, maybe a ladder or a slide? Do you remember the first time your younger brothers or sisters went up a slide and how scary it was to go up those steps? Do you remember that? Did you ever have to climb something? I have a grandson who's a year and a half old, and he's just learned to go up to the top of his slide, and he doesn't quite know how to sit down and slide down, so he goes down on his tummy. But it was so fun to watch him figure out how to do that. So this is a story about a boy named Jabari. And Jabari is older than 18 months old. I don't know, maybe he's 8. Maybe he's 6, I don't know. But he has decided that he is ready to jump off the diving board at the pool. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever jumped off a diving board at a pool, but some of them are really, really high. And in this story, it's pretty high. And you're going to see what happens. So in the story, Jabari says, "I'm jumping off the diving board today," he told his dad. "Really?" said his dad. "Are you sure? You sure?" Yes. The diving board was high and maybe a little scary, but Jabari had finished his swimming lessons, he'd passed his swim test, and he was ready to jump. "Hey, I'm a great jumper," said Jabari, "so I am not scared at all." And if you see him, he is jumping up and down. He is ready. He is so ready to jump. Oh, good to see you guys. Come on over. And you know how sometimes, even if you're a little bit scared, you say, "Hey, I am good. I am not scared at all. I've got this." This is where Jabari was. So Jabari watched the other kids climb the long ladder. They walked all the way out to the end of the board, and they were about as big as tiny bugs when he looked up at them. And then they stood on the edge, and they spread their arms, and they bent their knees, and they sprang up, 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 and then they dove down, 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 splash into the water. "Ha, looks easy," said Jabari. But when his dad squeezed his hand, Jabari squeezed back. So he stood at the bottom of the ladder and he looked up. Take a minute with me and look up. Imagine there's something way up there and there are steps between you and the up. So he gets in line and he says to the little girl who's standing behind him, "Well, you know what, you can go around me. You can go first if you want to," he told the kid. "I need to think about what special jump I'm going to do." And so he waited and he thought, and then he started to climb. And he climbed and he put one hand over the other. Can you do this? just as if you're going up. Imagine going up that ladder. And when you're doing it, imagine what it feels like. I did this last week on a great big tower in the jungle because I wanted to be up at the top to see the above the canopy, and it was not easy. This ladder is very tall, he thought. Are you okay? Called his dad. I'm actually just a little bit tired, said Jabari. Well, maybe you should climb down and take a tiny rest, said his dad. A tiny rest actually sounded like a pretty good idea. So he climbed down, and when he got to the bottom, he remembered something. Oh, you know, I forgot to do my stretches. That's what I need, he said to his dad. Oh, stretching is very important, said his dad. I think tomorrow might be a better day for jumping, Jabari said. And they looked up at the diving board together. Pretty high. It's okay to feel a little scared, said his dad. Sometimes if I feel a little scared, I take a deep breath and I tell myself, I'm ready. And you know what? Sometimes it stops feeling so scary and it feels a little like a surprise. Well, Jabari really loved surprises. So he took a deep breath, and I want you to do this with me. He took a deep breath, and he felt it fill his body from the ends of his hair right down to the tips of his toes. Do it right now. Feel it all. Fill yourself up. And let it out. And then he looked up, and he began to climb. He went up and up and up and up until he got to the top. And then he stood up straight. Now imagine you're up at the top and you're standing up straight, and it's a long way down. He walked all the way out to the end of the diving board. And he curled his toes right around the edge to hold on as tight as he could. And he looked down. And I want you to see what this looks like. He is on top of the diving board. And all he could see is those little ant-like people at the bottom. It's a long way down, a long, long way down. But if he's like me, when I was up on that observation tower last week, I didn't look down, I looked out. Because I figured that out was way better than down. The tops of the trees looked better than the ground. But Jabari looked out as far as he could see. And you know what? He felt like he was ready. I love surprises, he whispered. He took a deep breath, he spread his arms, and he bent his knees, and then he sprang up off the board. And you know what? Suddenly he was flying. Just for a minute, he was flying as he went out over. And then he hit the water with a huge splash. And he held his nose, and he went down, and it was kind of wonderful. He went down and down and down, and then he sprang back up, and his head came up out of the water. Whoosh! Jabari, you did it, said his dad. I did it, said Jabari. I'm a great jumper. And you know what? What, said his dad? Surprise double flip next. He was so ready. He was ready. He just had to jump. So, in all interest of all the things that we're ready to do, but we're just a little scared, and we have to take a deep breath, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go plant some gardens today. Today is a planting garden day for this group. All right? Are you ready? Let's go do it.
Prayer, it is said, changes nothing save the one who prays. In that spirit, let us unite our hearts in a moment of reflection and perhaps prayer. You can stand on the stage, the most skilled illusionist, madly conjuring card after card from thin air, or producing doves like some craved, relentless peacemaker, astounding even the most jaded, jeering crowd. But in the end, Lucretia said, he was right. Given, say, 7 days or 70 or even 7,000 years, you cannot create out of nothing even a single grain of sand, much less an entire universe. And yet each day you are called to make a world out of nothing more than hope. From the bombed out rubble of yesterday's drone strike, ordered by some unseen enemy, or worse yet, someone you trusted, you must claw your way back to the light and the air, concussed, dust yourself off to begin again, to make a world out of nothing more than hope. After the earth has shifted yet again without warning, you find yourself digging by hand through a maze of twisted rebar and memories, fingernails torn and knuckles swollen, desperately trying for each your own barely beating heart. So faint, only the rescue dogs can sense your thready pulse. And yet, from the shards of glass that pierce together the tender flesh of your palms, today, this day, you must piece yourself together another mirror that reflects some semblance of the face that you are willing to present to the world, to make a new world out of nothing but your hope.
Each week, we split our offering plate. Half of what is collected goes to the work of First Parish Brewster, and the other half goes to a worthy organization nominated by members of this congregation. This week's organization is Protect Our Cape Cod Aquifer, POCA, P-O-C-C-A. POCA's mission is to educate residents, businesses, and public agencies of Cape Cod about how to keep our drinking water safe by eliminating the use of hazardous chemicals in our environment. POCA believes education is the key to the longevity of drinkable water. There are several ways you can donate, as noted in the order of service. Thank you. Oh, a spiritual person is a grateful person. A grateful person is a generous person. This morning's offerings will now be generously given and gratefully received.
I've been living upon my mountain so high. I've been living upon my mountain so high. I'm calling you from my mountain to your mountain, to my mountain so high. From my mountain to your mountain, to my mountain so high. I'm calling you.
It's cold and lonely up on my mountain so high. It's cold and lonely up on my mountain so high, and I'm calling you
From my mountain to your mountain, to my mountain so high. From my mountain to your mountain, to my mountain so high. I'm calling you.
Born Again by Lynn Unger. Let's be clear about this. It isn't the same as being sick and getting better. It isn't changing your mind at the last minute or pushing away from the brink. The only way to be born again is to die. The phoenix doesn't just go up in a blaze of glory. It feels the fire lick up and sizzle every feather until each quill becomes a column of flame carried straight to the core. Whatever the legend of rebirth, there is always time in the fire, under the ground, hanging on the cross or the tree. Don't skip over that part of the story. If you would be reborn, you have to die. But what then? After the dying, how are we going to rise again into new life? The earth, the hero, the God, you and I. How does any of us find our way back from the valley of the shadow? The same way we die. Walk into the light.
All the light we have and enter into the unknown, we will find something solid to rest upon, or we will learn to fly. To savor the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. We continue this month's theme of creativity as central to the spiritual quest. There's something about this junction of savoring and saving that come together to make for a creative life. There's something intrinsic in our nature that both wants to savor and to save, to keep and to change, to hold on to and to let go. The good news of the Free Church and our theology is we're not done yet. We have not written the final chapter of our spiritual quest, nor of our community quest. It is our premise that we are souls growing, and life is nothing but a chance to grow a soul. Of course, I remind you, as I said a few weeks ago, Pascal's observation that all of humanity's troubles stem from our inability to sit quietly in a room. We need to savor the world for sure, but we need to save it and go out and create good trouble. To be creative, it's to take risks, to go out into the unknown with confidence, and some are more so than others. It is often very scary. Creativity, the source of our soul's growing. Thomas Jefferson, good Unitarian that he was, said, "If you want something you have never had, you must be willing to do something you have never done." Kayeza?
And you can join in here, because the words are in your order of service. Learn to fly.
Learn to fly.
We
I take delight in falling. I remember vividly playing a game with my friends where the art of the game was to run from one side of the yard to the other and to do cartwheels and rollovers of one sort, and whoever did the best got to be the leader the next time. Silly little game that boys would play. I loved tobogganing, going on that hill not far from where I lived in the wintertime, sledding on down, falling off, getting all covered in snow. I loved downhill skiing. I even got to the point where I was pretty good on those black diamonds. Well, I'm older now. I have said no to skydiving and bungee jumping. But now and then, I get seduced by a roller coaster. Now, when it comes to roller coasters, I know there are three kinds of people. Which are you? There's the, look, Ma, no hands. Whee, can we do it again? There's the folks who say, no way are you ever going to get me on that contraption. And then there are folks like me who will get on it and hold on to the safety bar for dear life as if that's going to make a difference. Let's do a quick survey. Who are the look, Ma, no hands crowd? And how many are never, ever, ever? And the rest of you are kind of in the middle, huh? Yeah, well, it looks like there's more stand-patters than there are triers. But that's okay. Why do people like roller coasters? It's big business, this roller coaster thing. The first one was built in the late 19th century. Today, there are more than 2,400 roller coasters on every continent, 760 in the United States, generating 156 feet. That's a 45-story building, and it lasts all of 50 seconds. Oh, those are fast 50 seconds. That's the highest. The fastest is in Abu Dhabi. It's called Formula Russa. It looks like a Ferrari. It goes 1.5 minutes, that's all, reaching speeds of 149 miles an hour. I'm not so sure I'd get on that one. The Steel Dragon in Japan is the longest at 2.8 miles with lots of ups and downs, like a ski run. Here in Massachusetts, the Thunder Mountain roller coaster in the Berkshires is a mere 3,780 feet of track, less than 3/4 of a mile. And just to make it interesting, of late, roller coaster engineering has introduced circles and twists called inversions. They flip you upside down and turn you around, and, well, if you can keep your stomach. But why? Why would people subject themselves to this? They're called thrill rides because they instill a sense of danger safely. It's a want your cake and eat it too moment. Coasters really are quite safe. Less than 1 in 750 million probability that you could get hurt. Of course, if you're that one. And those of you who've been on a roller coaster will know there's something called an anti-rollback device. As you're going up that first climb, and it goes clickety, clackety, clickety, clackety. That's purposefully put there. It builds suspense, and you get, and there's that little, and then you get to the top, and it stops, and it sits there, and you can feel doom. And then the drop comes, and you go down faster and faster, and the riders scream in spite of themselves, some terrified, some thrilled. Why do people seek such things? Well, because it helps us unloose our stickiness, our desire to fly, to do something new. Helen Keller once wrote, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Security does not exist in nature. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than exposure." And that's the point. To feel vulnerable, to know that you are alive in a way that a habit will never leave you feeling. It's to savor the delight of living. Roller coastering is the thrill of danger, entering into the unknown without any negative consequence. Oh, you might feel like it's going to be one, but it's not. It's something that one may have never done before. Racing downhill on skis, that's possibly dangerous. Bungee jumping, for sure, it's going to ruin your eye socket. Zip lining, ever been on a zip line? Yeah. Again, the thrill without the danger. Giving your first public speech. Remember? These all test your limits and your willingness to step into the unknown. And it's the same sense that you know you are alive. This is what drives our creativity, the desire to have more life and learn about ourselves.
Learn to fly, learn to fly. We believe that we will surely learn to fly. We will find something solid we can be upon, for we believe that we will surely learn to fly.
This urge to fly competes with our urge to stay still, to not add to all of humanity's problems, to not feel vulnerable, to feel safe and secure. We long for rest from life's trials and tribulations. Spiritually, we want sanctuary as much as we want freedom. We want to be protected. We want to be invulnerable and simply savor what is. Like a toddler learning to walk, sometimes we just need to sit a spell, to not take any more risk. But sooner or later, that's not enough. Don Marcus, poet, wrote, "A fierce unrest seized at the core of all existing things. It was the eager wish to soar that gave the gods their wings. So for you and so for me, we yearn to create new ways, new ideas, new things. We are creative by nature. We are called to fly into life." Or if I may mix my metaphors, which I often do, a ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. I've had fun over the years saying to my congregations, it's my job to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the too comfortable. To call you into more than you are comfortable being. We want to be held, yes. We want to be cosseted, yes. We want comfort, but we need encouragement and challenge. We need to exit this safe harbor into the sea of life, stormy or otherwise.
Learn to fly, learn to fly. We believe that we will surely learn to fly. We will find something solid we can be upon, for we believe that we will surely learn to fly.
I had a big smile this morning listening to the tale of Jabbar. As I mentioned, I was on the diving team. I wasn't any good at it, but it was fun. Some years later, now a young adult, somewhat smitten with myself, I had access to an Olympic swimming pool which had an Olympic diving board. Well, I said, I can do that. And I got up on that board. Now, it was only a 3-meter board. I've been off of 5 meters. Let me tell you, that is scary. 3-meter board's plenty. And if you work it right, you can get up a good 20 feet above the water, if you work it right. So there I am, like Jabbar, oh, that ladder's awful tall. And I'd climb up, and I'd stand there, and muscle memory would take over, and I'd remember how to pace and step and how to lift and up, and I would do some basic sort of dives. You know, and I'd get a little bold, and I'd try a little twisting dive and whatnot. But the one, ever since I landed my head on the diving board, the back flip, still scared me. So for several days, 23 attempts, I'd climb up that diving board, I'd walk out to the very edge, hang my heels over the edge like you're supposed to do it, I'd bend my knees, and I'd walk back, and I'd go do an easier dive. Several days. Well, I pretty soon drew a crowd. And actually, it wasn't the fear of the dive that was holding me back. It was the fear of the splat. If you hit water in the wrong way, you don't splash, you Trial number 24, Friday morning, 10:30 or so. I get up there, and something or someone says, go. And away I went, and the muscle memory took over. I arched my back, laid out in a perfect back swan, spun around my shoulders, came around and right into the water, like I knew how to do. Oh, let me tell you, I was first relieved and then joyed that I'd learned to fly once again. Whatever moves us to climb a roller coaster or climb a mountain, to change careers, to leave an unhappy relationship, whatever calls us to risk our safety, to feel vulnerable and alive is a precious thing. And it may take 23 attempts to hear it. Theologically, there is the notion that the divine, God, is a lure, not a push, inviting you into a new life, calling you into a new life, not pushing, but inviting. What is it, that thing that invites us is hope for a new life beyond this one that we now savor. To experience life more abundantly, more fully, to yearn to be something more is part of the creative drive of our souls. To take a chance on love, to take a chance of getting hurt after being hurt before, to try something for the very first time. All these are part of the soul's desire. Indeed, that may be the secret to life. Just try something new.
Learn to fly. Learn to fly. We believe that we will surely learn to fly. We will find something solid we can be upon, for we believe that we will surely learn to fly.
Guess what? You're never too old. You're never too old to learn to fly. Sam Keen is a popular American author some years ago, and age 62, he took up the trapeze. It had been calling to him since he was a child. He enrolled in a rigorous training program at 62 years of age, and he learned to fly. In his memoir, he writes, "Thus far I've been a man of gravity, serious, strong, rigid, taut, heavy, and earthbound." It was time for levity, lightness, litheness, and soaring. Imagine you're Sam Keen. What could lead you to fly off your spiritual trapeze? What fierce unrest stirs your soul? Are you listening to the call of your life? And where do you find the courage? Where do you find the courage to step on the end of that diving board facing backwards and to leap off? Even if it is known, it still feels unknown. Now, Sam Keen, in his memoir, offers a guide that I now pass on to you. First, there's the bond you have with others who will teach and guide you and pick you up should you fall. There is a safety net just in case. And so when your soul wings stir, when you hear that call, remember this, know this, you cannot fly alone. You cannot go without guides. You cannot fly without training and practice, lots and lots of practice to train those muscles. And you cannot soar without someone to launch you and someone to catch you. This is why we have a faith community, to do all those things. Sam Keen concludes, what is the gospel according to trapeze? It's good news about the human condition. The artistry of the trapeze troupe emerges from a cooperative effort to create something of fleeting and fragile beauty. It knows danger but not violence, courage but not conquest, striving for excellence but not competition, the joy of achievement but not victory. As a strictly physical achievement, he goes on, the quadruple somersault to the hands of a catcher is a feat of great skill, daring, and grace. It is unmatched by any ball-carrying athlete in the NBA or the NFL. Let's learn to fly again.
Learn to fly, learn to fly. We believe we will surely learn to fly. We will find something solid we can be upon, for we believe that we will surely learn to fly.
Let me wrap this up. Each of you this day and other days come here, enter through those doors to join this faith community, this sanctuary of love, compassion, and hope. But you're like spiritual toddlers. Some of you come bruised and wounded. You fell and banged your head. Some are getting the hang of it and taking confident steps. Some are a little bit more hesitant. But together we share all of life's joys and sorrows. But we remain instinctively afraid of falling. Next to loud noises, it's the one fear a baby has. So we unite here to heal the wounds and to challenge your aspirations, to teach you, to encourage you to learn how to fly. Be a soul growing, be full of life. Your new life is calling to you, even though you may have lost it along the way. Take the chance on it, or you will never know the thrill of flying. Indulge me one last story. Some years ago, I was on sabbatical and I told my congregation I was going to do something adventurous. I was not sure what it was, and then I enrolled in an outward bound course. Aren't you too old for that? Skeptics said. No, I was the oldest one there, but that's neither here nor there. In the 2 weeks I was on that course, we had one day of rock climbing, something I had never done before. 100-foot cliff, 10-story building, I said to myself. I was properly geared. I had been instructed and coached. The belay lines were in place. I was encouraged, and there were folks at the other end to catch me, so to speak. And I stepped forward and began to climb. I was making good progress, feeling ever more confident, and then just as I could see the top, maybe 10, 20 feet yet above me, my foot slipped, and I fell, and I was caught. My colleagues at the top had the ropes and held me and brought me all the way up to the top, where I fell into a heap of tears, relieved that I hadn't fallen to my doom, grateful for their care and protection, and thrilled that I had taken a chance. I was alive as I had not been before. So my friends, this is the thrill of the spiritual life. It can be really scary sometimes, and it may not seem like there's anyone there to catch you, but that's why we have this community. So whether it's roller coasters, or a new career, or some other adventure that calls you to try something for the new time, first time, I say go for it. Take the chance. Create a new life. Overcome your fear of flying. Trust that life is worth it. As you've heard these words from my colleague Mary Gregolia, when you come to the edge of all the light that you have and enter into the unknown, you will find something solid to rest upon, or you will learn to fly. Oh, may it be so, dear ones. May it be, dear so. Would you please rise in body or spirit? Let's sing it through twice this time. Can you give it a bit of a jazzy upbeat, too?
This is the improv part, I guess. Learn to fly. Learn to fly. We believe that we will surely learn to fly. We will find something solid we can feel upon, for we believe that we will surely learn to fly. Learn to fly. Learn to fly. We believe we will surely learn to fly. We will find something solid we can be upon, for we believe that we will surely learn to fly. Okay, let's do our closing song, shall we? Let's go fly a kite. You have it on your insert. Words. With 2 pence for paper and strings, you can have your own set of wings. With your feet on the ground, you're a bird in flight, with your fist holding tight to the string of your kite. Oh, let's all fly a kite.
I would invite you now, as you're willing, to reach out, take a hand of your neighbor. These are your cheerleaders. They're your coaches and your catchers. They'll be there with you and for you in the days ahead. So I say to you, whatever else you do today, go fly a kite. Please be seated for our post salute.
So what do you think will be back in the channel, Ben?